All right, 8.4 is on compound interest. And so the very front of this worksheet, it says calculating the amount in an account for compound interest paid once a year. And the formula is A equals P times 1 plus R. But then you see that the T is an exponent. You see it's up high. It's an exponent. So it's still, A is the future value, P is your principal, R is rate, but your time has moved to not being multiplied, but being a power, okay? So let's see about plugging this into this formula. And when we say compound interest, I think I told y'all on Monday, we're going to get into where you are having to pay a certain amount, either monthly, quarterly, semi-annually. That just means if it's monthly, it's every month. You follow me? It's money being made every month. Quarterly will be every 3 months. You follow me? Semi-annual will be what, twice a year? So that's what we're getting to when we say it's compound interest, when you're doing it probably multiple times, okay? So right now, we're just looking at pay once a year, okay, once a year. So on number one says you deposit $2,000 in an account at Regions Bank, which has a rate of 1.6%. There are two parts, A and B. A says find the amount, A, of money in the account after 3 years, subject to interest compounded once a year, okay? So I want to know how much money is in this account after 3 years, but it's only going to compound once a year, okay? So in other words, it's only going to hit once a year, which is kind of on the same target of what we've been doing, so to speak, but we're doing it in compound form, okay? So you got $2,000. That would be your principal. And I'm just writing everything down. And our rate is 1.6%. Okay? And our time is what, after 3 years? So I don't have to do no conversion on my time. 3 years. So A wants to know what's the value of the loan. So we're going to say A equals, the principal is $2,000 times 1 plus, our rate is 1.6%, and we're going to raise that to the what power? To the third. Okay, to the third. So we're going to type, and I'm going to type that completely in the calculator. We're going to say 2,000, parenthesis, 1 plus 1.6. Go get your percent sign. Close the parenthesis. Go get the top hat and put 3. The top hat button's not wanting to work. There it goes. Okay. All right. So you have a decimal. You should have 2,097.544192. Y'all get all that? Now this is money. So money, we do how many decimals? 2. Okay, cents comes in 2. So if we do 2 decimals, that's 1, 2. You gotta look at the third number to see what to do with the second. So do we round up or stay at 4? Stay at 4, good. So our loan value will be $2,097.54. That's where your loan will be after 3 years. okay? So you invested $2,000, but after 3 years, it will be $2,097.54. Now, all B is asking you for is the interest. It says find the interest. How much interest did it accumulate? How do you find that? Just subtract. Good. You just gonna subtract A minus P, which is that 2,097.54 minus what, the 2,000? What we got? $97 and what, 54 cents? That's your interest. Very good. Do y'all see that? Number 2. It says you deposit $1,000 in an account at a bank that has a rate of 1.4%. Find the amount of money that's in the account after 5 years, subject to interest compounded once a year. And it does say round to the nearest cent. So we got our $1,000 deposited at the rate of 1.4%, and our time is 5 years. So the formula, we're going to say 1,000 times 1 plus 1.4%, and we're going to raise that to the what, 5th power? $1,000 times 1 plus 1.4%, close it, top at 5, and we get a decimal of 1,071.987633. So again, 2 decimals means that I have to look at the third to tell me what to do with the second. So how do we round? Does it go up or does it stay at 8? Go up. Good. So your value is $1,071.99. Good. 5 and more, you round up. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you round up. If it's 0 to 4, you stay. If that's where that 7 is, if that would have been a 4, we would have kept it at 98. Mm-hmm. Does everyone see that? And then again on B, because this is technically what A wants you to do, but on B, they want you to find the interest. How much interest? Good. All you're doing is subtracting the 2. And so that will give you $71.99. That's how much interest.
What would be the end of that? The interest instead of it being 1,000?
Now the back of it is calculating the amount in an account for compound interest paid in times a year. So this is like when I talked about monthly, quarterly, semi-annually. This is where you got to know, okay, this is being calculated more than just one time a year. This is several times in the year, okay? So the formula, slightly a little different, but really it's not. A equals P times 1 plus R over N close the parenthesis, and you raising it to the n times t power. So instead of one number up there, it's 2. You're going to multiply them together, n and t together as an exponent, okay? Now, let's look at this first example. N, that's a new variable. We've been looking at A, P, R, and T, but N is going to be that nth time. How many times am I talking about? If I say monthly, then that's where you're going to put a number in for monthly. It goes where the N is. Quarterly, it goes where the N is. You follow me? Semi-annually, it goes where N. So that's where that number goes in, okay? So look at that first example. It says you deposit $7,500 in an account with a rate of 1.2%. The interest is compounded monthly. Okay? So A wants to know how much money will you have after 5 years? Okay? How much money will you have after 5 years? Now, I need to make sure we're clear on our numbers. If I say monthly, that means every month. So that's going to be compounded how many times within a year? 12. 12 times, okay? So when we plug in, we have our principal, which is $7,500, times 1 plus the rate is 1.2%, over, now in, we're going to put 12, because that's what you told me monthly meant. It meant 12. Close the parenthesis, raise it to the n, who is 12 again, times 5. Very good, because that's your time. So in my head, when I type this in, I'm not going to say 12 times 5. You need to know that's going to be 60. Y'all know that? That's what you raising it to. It's to the 60th power. When we type all that in, did y'all get 7,963? 535349, yep. And we're going to do 2 decimals, meaning you got to look at the third one to tell you what to do. We're going to go to 5-4, good. So we got $7,963.54. Okay. So that's after 5 years. So B asks you, okay, what was that interest? Just subtract them. We're going to just subtract the two numbers. So you're going to take that 7963.54 minus 7,500, and you should get $463.54. So that's a good little, I guess in 5 years, you made almost $500 on it. But that's compounding monthly. So that means that interest rate is hidden every month for 5 years. That's why you raised it to it's slow. She's like, that ain't no money. But look at your interest rate. Your interest rate is 1.2%. And that's the conversation we had Monday. A lot of times when you invest money, the bank, the interest rate be low. It's going to be 1 point something. But don't ask the bank to borrow some money. Their interest rate going to be anywhere from 5 to 7%. That way they going to make sure they tax you on that money. You deposit $4,200 in an account that has a rate of 1.6%, and the interest is compounded quarterly. Okay? A says, how much money will you have after 10 years? 0.3? Think about it. Okay. Y'all in the right ballpark, but not with the decimals though. Quarterly means how many? Let me get you when we get to how many times a year y'all trying to say?
Oh, so 4.4.
4? Don't give me no decimals now.
Okay, 4.
4. Good. Quarterly means 4 times a year, which means every what? 3 months? Would it be 4 times?
Yeah.
Every 3 months hit. Every 3 months hit. So that'll be 4 times out of the year. Wouldn't that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just out beside quarterly, put 4. Know that quarterly means 4. That's 4 times.
6, 22.
Hmm.
It's gonna be 6.
And so our formula,
So the end's gonna be 4?
because quarterly, they're giving you the word quarterly, meaning it's going to hit every 3 months. That would be 4 times out the year. Okay? So, if we do our plug-in, 4,200, 1 plus 1.6% over 4, and we're going to raise it to 4 times 10, which 4 times 10 we know is what? 40. So that's the exponent you're using is 40. 4,200 parentheses 1 plus 1.6% divided by 4, top, close the parentheses, top hat 40. And you should get 4927.172904. And at the nearest cent, that's 2 places. So 2 makes 7 stay the same. Good. So $4,927.17 is what you will have after 10 years. And on B, it asks you for that interest. And all you're going to do is what? Subtract. And that should give $727.17. Questions?